Welcome to Common Man Cocktails. I'm Derek Schomer, and today we're going to talk about the dirty little secrets of rum. Things that you just might want to keep in the back of your mind the next time you go to buy a bottle of rum. What a lot of people say in the rum industry is that the rum industry is the Wild West of spirits. Like, there are no rules. You just do whatever you want. There are actually rules, but there's some tricks to how to apply those rules, and how some might use those rules to their advantage. Of course, there is the French AOC. This is a French rum from Martinique that definitely has a standard set of rules to follow. But this is what the United States TTB states about rum. Rum is a distilled spirit fermented from juices of sugarcane syrup, sugarcane molasses, or other sugarcane byproducts at less than 95% alcohol by volume. Although the TTB did let in a sugar beet rum at one point, I think it's now called Colorado rum, created by the Stoneyard Distillery. Look it up if you're interested. In many ways, look at rum as if it was vodka by the rules of the law of the United States. Vodka is a clear, neutral spirit. Rum, however, has all kinds of age categories and islands and flavors. How does that work into the rules? So this Martinique rum here that has all these specific rules, those rules are not strictly enforced as a rum category. So another product might come along, let's say Plantation, and change the rules, because their rules in their area are different. So two rums are not created equal under the law. One could have 20-something grams of sugar. Another one could be naturally colored. Because there are no rules when importing to the United States that state that you must follow a specific set of guidelines other than what I just read you. Cuba has their own regulations. Barbados has their own regulations. That's great if you're buying the rum in Barbados against a competitive Barbados rum. Not when you're selling it in the United States, where the rules are much more open and broad. The result is customer confusion, deceptive marketing practices, and some strange pricing strategies. Rule number 1, do not expect color to match age. It's just not a fact. It's not true with almost any of these. You can have a dark rum that's not aged at all. There's no rule saying you can't, as long as it's made from some sort of sugar. Let's look at a dark. Gosling's, since 1806, Black Seal, 80 proof, Bermuda black rum. If these guys want to, they could use burnt sugar to get that color, spirit caramels to get that color. You could age it to get that color. You could char the inside of an oak barrel to get that color. You might do all three to get that color. Or did I say 4? What if they have a very forward molasses flavor? For example, the Kraken. It has that like blackstrap molasses loveliness. How about Smith & Cross? It brings in that funky banana flavor of a Jamaican rum, but it's a little bit dark. Is that age? Might be less caramel color and more Dunder. Dunder is the molasses leftovers after distillation. So you distill your rum, you take all those sugars and all those molasses, you convert those to alcohol, you distill out the alcohol, and you're left with all this Dunder. You can apply some of that Dunder back into your product to get a rich black look. That rich black look comes with rich black molasses flavor, which is freaking awesome. It's not lying, it's a technique to bring flavor to your product. But that will piss some people off that don't know what Dunder is, didn't know that was part of the process, and just wanted their rum to be all natural. So, you don't know if it was charred with oak barrels, you don't know if they used caramel color to make all the coloring consistent across all of their aging, you don't know if there was burnt sugars, or what was used to create that dark color, or was it just simply age? Here's a clue, you can age a whiskey for a long time, 30 years, it's still not going to be pitch black. So now that I have you properly pissed off, you're like, holy crap, you're coloring my rums. Let's look at some of these clear rums. Let's look at Bacardi. Here's one. Let's pour it a little bit out. This is Bacardi. Look at how clear it is. It's beautiful, right? This is a light rum. So obviously light in color. It's a little bit light in flavor too, but that's a Puerto Rican style rum. Now, let's just take a look at Havana Club. This is a Cuban rum. Side by side, what do you notice? Hopefully, if this works out for me. They're not the same color at all. Two light rums, but one's got a dirty, kind of a brown, dirty watercolor. Well, believe it or not, a light rum is an aged rum. This is aged 1 to 4 years. We don't know specifically how long, if it was Solera blended, how it was blended to get that way, but this is, at most, a 4-year-old rum. Havana Club says right on the bottle, 3 años. So if you speak a little Spanish, you realize this is a 3-year-old rum. Doesn't have a lot of color for 3 years, though. But that Bacardi one is kind of suspicious. Much like Captain Morgan light rum or pick your light rum off the shelf. Most of the time, they're white. That is because they aged the rums to bring in the smoothness and to bring in the character and to bring in some of the properties of a barrel. Yet at the same time, they then take all that product and they clear it and they filter it and they treat it so that it's as white as it can be. And that is what a lot of people look at as the pinnacle standard for light rum. Super white. But here's the secret. As you filter it as clear as possible, you're stripping out some of those flavor properties, those congeners. But what that means is that what you think is an unaged product because it's clear, it turns out they've actually aged it to bring in the character and those flavors. Sure, they strip a crap load out of it, but whatever. And a lot of these are column stills. Some of these are pot stills. If you watched our Dirty Secrets of Vodka, you'll figure out that vodka is probably not something you're going to pot still because it's not efficient. However, Smith & Cross is a pot still product. You can also make a blend of column still and pot still and bring them together. Who knows what the color is going to be? You can either add caramel color or you can filter the crap out of it so it's clear. Can't trust the color. So if any marketing person comes to you and tells you how clear their rum is and how that makes it ultra premium or costs more, that's a freaking lie. The only reason it costs more is they stripped out all the good stuff. But there's a time and a place for a light rum. It works great in cocktails. Tastes better than vodka. And it does still have and retain some of its original character. So if you see a cocktail calling for an aged rum, this light rum still works. Let's talk about the flavor. Rum's fermented from sugar, so it's going to be sweeter than every other spirit, right? Wrong. Vodka can also be distilled from sugar. Matter of fact, you're washing the sugars out of your corns and your wheats to get the sugar to create the alcohol, to create the final product. The reason you'll find rums tend to be a little bit more sweet is because they add a little bit more sugar to the final product. Yeah, you extract the sugars, the yeast eats the sugar, poops out alcohol, you distill the alcohol, and then you add more sugar to it. That's right. It's just not always the case. Plantation 3-Star is 3 different blends from Jamaica, Barbados, and Trinidad. These guys aren't shy about saying, yeah, we add sugar. I believe they're also cognac distillery, and cognac adds sugar, so whatever. The reason they're adding sugar is because it tastes freaking awesome with sugar. Sorry, there's a time and a place for everything. I personally like all rums. I don't care. However, there are people who are adversely against adding sugar to a product. Especially the folks at Maison. They don't add artificial colors and they don't add sugars, which is why they come in different colors, because this whatever comes out of the cask as is what they get. This is a Guyana rum, as is El Dorado. Completely different in color, completely different in flavor. Maison 2005 Guyana. El Dorado 12-year. Look at that. Quite interesting difference in colors. But the other interesting thing outside of just the colors is the difference in sugars and molasses. That also brings us back just for a second to Bacardi. Bacardi has less than 3 grams of sugar in a bottle, which is, I believe, just trace amounts, or it's not even measurable, because there's probably a margin that's plus or minus 3. Ron Zacapa, 41 grams per liter. So it's almost a half a cube of sugar for 1 shot of this rum. Whereas something like Angostura 1919 only has 14 grams of sugar. So if you're wondering why, say, Ron Zacapa is so much smoother than Bacardi, or why there's so much great blackstrap Demerara rum flavor in an El Dorado versus that of a Maison Guyana, it might just be added sugar. I have a link below for a forum post where somebody has broken down all the different sugars in a lot of the popular brands, because in certain countries like Sweden, they must publish their sugar content. So they just scrape it off of websites and they post it publicly for everybody to see. So right now you're saying, oh, Maison's paying them for this video. Just like people in my vodka video were saying, oh, Absolute's paying him for this video. Nobody's paying me for the video. I'm giving you knowledge. You either take it or you leave it. I don't fucking care. If you're diehard against the concept of added sugar to your rum, and that's your complete prerogative, you could do that. But if you really want non-sugar in your product, find islands whose laws state that they can't add sugar. For example, Mount Gay Eclipse, you're Barbados. Appleton is a Jamaican. Clement, Martinique. They probably don't have added sugars because they're made in a place where it's not allowed. What about the names Gold, the names Aged, Light, XO, all these other things that exist? I get an XO in here someplace. Penny Blue XO. Mauritian rum. I don't know if they add sugar, but it's freaking expensive. Great rum, highly suggest. Will buy again. Let's look at a gold. Oh, Bacardi Gold, right here, Puerto Rican rum. Gold. So what makes it gold? What happens if a cocktail calls for a gold rum? What they're saying is they want you to use a light rum with a little bit of caramel color added to it. Gold may be aged up to 5 years. You're probably not going to figure it out, so just use a light rum or an aged rum, because it's the same for all those categories. You can't use color. Check it out. This is an aged rum. That is, on the bottle says aged rum. This on the bottle, this is Crucian Estate Diamond Dark Rum, a blend of 5 years or older. They look the same freaking color. So how do you know which is aged and which isn't? One way is, the way I suggest, is you go, and I'll put a link below, buy Martin Cate's book, Smuggler's Cove. The entire book is all about tiki bars, his tiki bar, tiki cocktails, recipes, and in the back of the book, he breaks down what is done with the column still, what's done with the copper pot, what most of the age categories are, what type of blending they're using, what you can kind of use as a guideline for what age goes to what. He wrote that section because he knows it's freaking confusing. So don't go by age as a label, and don't count gold as meaning anything outside of the fact that it's probably young. So let's talk a little bit more about age. Here's our Clement. I also have De Paz, Blue Cane Rum Agricole. Both of these are French rums. They both have AOC. If these have age statements, which I don't know if they do, but if they do, the age refers to the youngest rum within that blend. But Spanish rums, same age statement, but they refer to the oldest rum used within that blend. Those are two opposite points. So given French and English rums use that dating mechanism, found one, English Harbor, aged 5 years. That means this is 5 years or older. Ron Zacapa, 23. This is a rum, states 23 years. However, it's a Solera blend of ages 6 to 23. But you have to read it backwards. The oldest product here is 23. It might only be 1% of this bottle is aged 23 years. The whole rest could be 6, but it's still considered 23. Some countries, I believe the case is with Cuba, use older barrels when they age their product. That way they get less influence from the wood. Other countries age with newer barrels, which gives them a huge influx of flavor from the wood. Both could be aged 5 years. One could be written a 5-year-old rum, the other one could be written a 1-year-old rum. One could be gold, one could be dark. And they're gonna taste completely different. One is gonna be oak aged flavor, and the other is gonna be a young, bright flavored rum. And one thing to consider when you're spending money on rum, you don't have to buy a very old aged rum to get an aged rum appeal and flavor. Aging on the islands is fast and furious. It's much different from aging in, say, New England, Old England, Ireland, where it's cold. Hot and humid weather create a very fast aging process. So a 5-year-old rum on an island might taste like a 10-year-old scotch. Also watch for label shenanigans. Yes, that's an official category. Label shenanigans. I know Zaya 12 is one of the ones that I've had a lot of people talk about. It originally said Zaya 12-year-old rum. They reformulated and now it's called Zaya 12. Because now they blend 12 unique rums into their bottle. It's not a single blend of rums aged 12 years, or a single estate aged 12 years, or a single barrel aged 12 years. It's 12 unique product. Apparently Flor de Caña 7 years is now called Flor de Caña 7. I have an old bottle. It still says 7 years rum. But if you go and do a Google image search, you'll see the label has been reworded. So I question why. I also saw Zaya 12 being sold as Zaya 12 years by some vendors online because all they did was slot it into the same SKU and put it on in stock on their website, even though the formula has changed, without changing the title of that specific product. Bottom line, the color doesn't imply the age doesn't imply the quality, and neither of them imply the price. Don't forget to subscribe if you like our content. Don't forget to like the video. And don't forget to go to awesomedrinks.com. That's my store. That's my only sponsor. It's me. If you need cocktail gear, head over to awesomedrinks.com. Get your bartender starter kit. You'll see there's a link below for the bartender starter kit so you can get making cocktails today. Sidebar, dirty little secrets about vodka. And dirty little secrets about whiskey. That's it, my friends. We're teaching you how to drink.